I'm so not used to not having music playing.
Mhm.
Oh, again, thank you for coming on and sharing. I appreciate that. Hello, hello, everyone. Once you hop on, go ahead and make a comment and let us know that you are watching. I'm just going to tag a couple people and then we'll get started. We're continuing to observe Child Abuse Awareness Month. I don't know if you guys know this, but April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. And I said, you know what, here at Land Foundation Life Center, we're going to start observing Child Abuse Awareness Month because that's something that's near and dear to my heart. Let me go ahead and throw this out here because this is something that I've been forgetting to do. I want to give you some warnings. May get triggered sometimes in these types of conversations. So we're just getting ready to wrap it up. Please leave your comments and thoughts and please engage in the comment section. I'm just going to go ahead and tag a couple people and then tell you a little bit about the nonprofit organization that we have and the things that we do and how you can get involved. And then I'll turn it over to our guest and let her introduce herself. And then we'll get on into tonight's conversation. Once again, I want to say thank you to everyone that is hopping on. Thank you for tuning in. I ask that you please tag and share. Please tag and share. I'm just going to, whoever come up, that's what I'm tagging. So please tag and share, make a comment, let us know that you're on, let us know that you are watching. I really have enjoyed this, so we'll definitely do this
Mhm.
again. I really have. This has been
It's been some
so.
really good guests on here.
Yeah, I know. It's been. Oh, hey, Bestie. Hello. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you for tuning in. I want to say thank you to everyone who's watching from our Facebook page. Thank you for tuning in and helping make this a success. Been glad to have everybody on. I want to say if you haven't, Land Foundation Life Center has a YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please go over there and check that out. Hit the like button, subscribe button, share button. You'll get to see probably a lot of the things that we do and that we have going on the YouTube channel. But once again, I want to say if you're watching from Facebook, thank you. Once you hop on, just make a comment. Let us know that you're watching. Now, if you're watching from the YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe button, share button. Thank you for hopping on and tuning there. Thank you for subscribing. I really, really appreciate that. I appreciate the love and support that the nonprofit organization is getting from you, the community. I hope that, give us some feedback, some of the things that you would like to see us cover that we haven't covered, maybe some topics, different things like that. Please feel free to send that to me as well. Once you hop on, go ahead, tag and share, make a comment. Let me know that you're watching now. Let me tell you a little bit about the nonprofit organization while we're allowing people time to hop on and why I'm tagging people too. It what we do is we work with young girls in the summer. I have a group of girls that I've been working with since they getting about ready. I think they get about ready to tell me I'm done with you. I've been working with them ever since they was 8 years old and they're now 15 years old and it's just been a blessing. I love it, but why I still got some time with them. They go out with me when I go out into the field because we connect with other nonprofit organizations as well when they're doing things, especially for children. That's just my heart and my area. And so we go out and help and give, and I take them right out there with me because I'm trying to teach them how to give and love and serve. So I'm super excited about that. And so those are the types of things that we do. We also have a online Bible study if you're interested in that. And then we have just we're doing a lot of different things right now. We just had our first annual event where we brought in doctors, we brought in therapists, we brought in a person that do taxes and just coming and just empowering us in that type of way. So I'm super excited about all that is going on. And if you would like to get involved, just shoot me a message in the inbox. I'd be glad to give you all the information. Or you like to make a donation, you can do that at Land Foundation Life Center at yahoo.com. You could do it through PayPal. That's what I should say. I do have a banner, but I don't know. I don't really know how to work this stuff sometimes. So once you guys hop on, go ahead, tag and share, make a comment, let us know that you are watching. Got a lot of new things that we are working on in the nonprofit organization. I got to get me some new board members. If anybody know anything about nonprofits, board members will say bye. Real quick. Real quick because it's a lot of work and you don't get paid for it. And so it's all volunteering your time. So I want to say thank you to my board members, those that were serving, but I will be putting up some information because I am in need of some new board members. I'll be putting up the information on that as well. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our guest and let her introduce herself while I continue to try to just sending out some text messages and let people know that we're on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle, and I was invited because I take care of kids that are not my children. I was never like in the foster care system, but biblically, we are responsible to take care of the widows and orphans. And I think a lot of times we do a big disservice with both of those aspects of it. But right now, we're talking about the children part of it. So it's important that we, even if you can't actually be a foster parent or adopt a child, you could do what Miss Renee is doing and just take some kids under your wings and just like mentor them, be with them, kind of show them how life works. So that way, when they get older, they will have some discernible skills that will help take them farther in life than not having anybody there for them at all. We would be surprised like I guess like even as adults when we're going through a lot and somebody give us a kind word, it resonates with us. And with children even more deeper because they don't know how to fully control their emotions. They don't know how to really properly think about things or handle problems. So I am a really big advocate if you have the bandwidth, the time, and the emotional capacity to really just help kids, become better children or just, sponsor a kid or do something along those lines.
That is amazing. Now, she is being very modest. I love this sister. I met her on Single Saved and Dating, and I just found out about her story. It's amazing. I love what she do. I appreciate what she has done, and it just warmed my heart. And I said, well, I can't think of a better way to close this out. I had her in the middle, but it didn't work out. So I think God moved it around this way on purpose because this is the best. I think this is the best way to wrap things up. I've asked her to come and share her story about how she became a mother, and she really mothers a lot of. I think she like me. She loves children. She got other kids that she watch out and she care for, and you're gonna hear about that. And she just have an awesome testimony, and so I'm super excited to have her with us tonight to share, like she was saying. We're gonna wrap this kind of thing up at the end. We're gonna go into the law that they just passed about the abortions, but we're gonna say that for the end. So I'm gonna let her go ahead and kind of start sharing with us about her journey into motherhood.
So I don't like being called nobody's mom because I don't really like kids. I on purpose don't have like my own children. I never wanted kids. Like that is not something that I ever wanted to do. I just was like, I want to be free. I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to have to find a babysitter. I don't want kids hanging around, bothering me, asking me questions and all kinds of stuff. It takes a lot of work to raise children. And I knew that because I was a lot of work as a kid and I was not under any kind of delusion. Like I wasn't a bad kid, but I was like, I was still a lot of work. Just imagine an actual bad kid. So I was like, no, thank you. I don't want none of those things in my house. So my cousin, she was murdered and she had a 2-year-old kid. I didn't even know this kid existed. Let me not even lie to y'all. I didn't know existed. Everybody like, where's her kid? I said, she has a kid. And everybody's like, oh, where's her kid? And I was like, she got a what? And so I really wasn't thinking about taking this kid at all. Like even then, I was like, yeah, well, he had grandpa, and grandma, uh, aunts and uncles. I really was. I still was not like nope. So the day that she actually passed away, we were all at my other aunt's house, and he was just sitting there and just doing nothing. So I just grabbed his little hand. I was like, you can come spend the night with me because that's all it's supposed to be. Was you just spend the night one time and you got to go. So I was like, you just come spend the night with me, and we go and you come hang out, and then we'll figure everything out the next day. Because my uncle is his grandfather, and my uncle raised his mom because his grandmother was on drugs really bad, and she lost her kids. And so my uncle had to actually fight to prove, because she got pregnant with my cousin while she was married. So my uncle had to like fight to prove that he was her father, because they had her husband listed as my cousin's father in order to take her out of foster care. So my uncle went through like the whole thing with that. So she really didn't rock with her mom. So we knew she probably didn't want her mom to raise him. But then my uncle, because he actually raised her, my uncle only had two kids, a son and a daughter, and he actually raised her. So he was like not in a good space at all, to take him. So he found his dad, and his dad was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come get him, and I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna go downtown and file for custody, all this other stuff." I'm like, "Great," because at this point, I'm still like, I don't want this kid. And then um my cousin and them, like, we were like, well, we got to go get him some clothes and stuff. But her other family had went into her house, stole all of her stuff out of her house, took his clothes. So I had to go buy him a bunch of new clothes. I went and bought him some toys and stuff. And so at this point, I'm still like, okay, you're still in my house, but you're not gonna live here. And so his dad was like, I don't have a place to stay. I just came back from out of town. So I convinced my cousin, who is my little cousin's uncle, to take his dad in so his dad could take him. And so I gave him to his dad. But he at this point he had been with me and my mom and them for probably like a month. And so he really wasn't feeling going with his dad. He was like, and he was two. He was two. He was like, I really ain't feeling this. I don't want to be bothered with none of this. But I guess I'll go hang out with him. And so his dad had him for like 2 months, but he would still come over our house like every other weekend. And so we went and bought him a little cake and some toys on his third birthday, because his birthday probably was like a couple months after his mom died. And so his dad had been taking him, and his dad wasn't doing right. So my cousin put his dad out. So he had him going back and forth. And so my little cousin told his dad, was like, I just want to go, because he calls my mom mommy. He's like, I just want to go with my mommy and with my cousin Shell and just live with them. And he was 3. At this point, he was like, I know what I'm taking care of. I don't want to do this with you. Just take me back. And so his dad bought him back with none of the stuff. I went and bought all these stuff. None of the stuff. So I had to go buy him clothes and shoes and toys again. I was like, I'm getting sick of this. This is becoming too much. And it was around Thanksgiving. So then I'm like, well, who's going to buy him Christmas? So I started buying him Christmas. I was like, this is becoming a project that I did not want to be involved in, like at all. My uncle still ain't doing good. My mom and them took him to his grandma. She was like, I don't want to raise no kids and all this other stuff. His aunts and uncles weren't stepping up. And so he once like every like his dad never went and do what he's supposed to do. So I told his dad, because his dad got him the day after Christmas, and then I was like, I'm gonna come get him on New Year. When are you going to like have something finalized in court? And his dad's mom had called and was like, just come get him. He can't raise him at all.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's his dad, so that's who's gonna raise him. But when I picked him up, my little cousin was like, he didn't want to go back. So I finally went and filed for custody for him. And it's like January. My cousin died on Father's Day, which was like in June. By this time it's January. He had already been with me this whole time. So it's not even really like he had really went anywhere. So I went
Mhm.
and filed for custody of him. Again, mind you, I still don't want no kids. Never had kids on purpose. Like this is on purpose. I never, I was like, I want to be a mom and I just can't. No, no, I did not want these children in my house. So he's here. I filed for custody. And so they're like, oh, his dad filed once and never came to court. And we gave him the money to file. So I don't know what he did. They're like, oh, he didn't have to pay because he ain't got no money. I had to pay to file because I had a job and stuff. I'm like, what kind of stuff is this? So then his grandma filed for custody. When I had filed, they didn't see that. So I had to fight his grandma, mind you, who lost all her kids to children's service, who had been on crack, she filed for custody. And so the judge
Wow.
gave us joint custody. So I had to like, they gave her primary custody though. And I was like, how fair is this? And they're like, well, that's his grandma. And I'm like, but she hasn't had him. So I had got to the point I was like, you know what? I'll take him every other weekend. That's fine. I got used to it. But my mom kept saying, you do know Tired don't take their stripes. You're going to have him. But the guardian ad litem said the same thing. She was like, just stay in his life because I don't see this working out. I told this judge it's not probably not the best decision, but just stay in his life because at this point I'm like, I'm free. I'm gonna let grandma do what she do. Not even 6 months later, Trigger Service called me. It was like, we found him in the streets by himself. I'm like, I'm mad because I never wanted him to be in children's service at all. It was overnight. I still
Wow.
peed. Like I was like peed. She's like, oh, just overnight. I said, that's too long. I don't know them people who live. And I knew his mom wouldn't want that for him either. So I had to go. Then she called children's service on me because I had to get a restraining order on her because I wouldn't pick him up and I wasn't bringing him back. I was like, you're not taking care of him. I'm not giving him back to you. So I had to file a restraining order because she threatened my life. This is the grandma because she
Wow.
threatened my life. And just, he was just acting wild. And the judge gave me a restraining order. I didn't put him in it. The judge was like, I don't think it's good for him to be with her. I don't know why they gave y'all joint custody. I'm going to add him to restraining order so she can't force you to give him back. So the judge added
Wow.
him to the restraining order. So I went and filed for emergency custody. So I went and got custody of him. I had to pay for a lawyer because she said that um, he filed some kind of charge on me. I don't remember what it was. They made her actually drop the charges. The judge did. Made her drop the charges. She filed something on me, and then she called Children's Service and said that I was sexually molesting him. I was like, what?
Wow.
And Children's Service came in and was like, we don't believe nothing she say, but because of the nature of the call, we have to investigate it. And I was like, I get it. That's fine. I don't care. But I'm like, what is she doing all this for? She she didn't really want him at all for real. She just wanted to torment us because she doesn't like she's not consistent now. So I got
Hmm.
actually got full legal custody of him at that point because they were like, we're going to give you a drug test. She failed the drug test. She just was acting a fool because she was on drugs. I'm like, I told y'all this before we did this. I went to the school. The school was like, oh, thank God somebody else got him. So then I found out
Wow.
like she wasn't even doing right, and I found out because I was like, I'm putting him in counseling because his mom passed away. He had been tossed to and fro everywhere. Like I'm putting him in counseling. So she actually did have him in counseling. And I went there. So he calls my mom mommy. He to this day he calls her mommy. Um, unless he get mad. He'll be like, Sandra, but he still calls her mommy. I take primary care of him. I'm still just chopped liver, but he loves my mom. That's like his favorite person. So I take him to counseling. And so they thought, because he was telling them, like, oh, when I'm with my mommy, she buys me new clothes. And I go to, because I always take him like skating, trampoline parks and stuff like that. And he's telling them, like, oh, I get to go to trampoline parks and I go skating. They're thinking, because they don't know about me, they're thinking that like he's making this up to kind of help get over like his mom. And it was like, oh, you do actually exist. I was like, yeah, we really exist. They was like we thought he was making y'all up, and the grandma was like, I don't know them people, and and it was like, oh, so this is who he's talking about. And the school was like, oh, she's not terrible. And the school was like, we'll write a statement to the judge because we don't think she should have him. She's not doing right by him. He's not going to school on time. When he does, he's not clean and stuff. So at this point, I'm mad because I'm like, I take good care of him. Like I bought him school clothes and stuff. Um, because he was supposed to be able to go to school from my house when I had him on my every other weekend. And she went to the school, started trying to fight. She just was acting a plum fool. So they gave me custody, and then they gave her every other weekend. She could see him for one day. Like he didn't get the whole weekend. One day, I let him like now he's bigger. I allow him to spend the night with her, but she's not even consistent. Like you did all this fighting, and you're not even consistent. And and I'm like, and all this time, I'm like, I don't have to fight for him. I don't want to. Like, it's costing me money, it's costing me time. But I just kept being reminded that we're supposed to take care of the widows and the orphans. And if I have the time and if I have this money, I need to be putting it, especially somebody who's my own family. And so I'm thinking like, well, maybe when his aunts and uncles step up, nobody step up. Mind you, he was 2 when all this happened. He's 10. He was actually just at the door when I had to go on mute and start talking. That was him at the door, bothering me about God knows what. Um, But it has been not an easy ride because you lose your mom and your dad's not the best person in the world and your grandparents aren't really consistent. It's it's a lot for a kid. So there are times where it's rough. Um, but I'm reminded with my friends and stuff, and my friends are really helpful too. Like even when it's hard, I don't want him to grow up and feel abandoned. I don't want him to grow up and feel unloved. I don't want him to grow up and feel like a throwaway. I don't want him to get caught up in the system because honestly, if I let him go to his grandma, that's where he's going to end up at. Like, if I really be like, I'm done with you, that's where he's going to go and he's going to end up in the system anyway. And I don't want him to grow up and be statistic. Like, he can quote scriptures. He's super smart. He's funny. He's charismatic. I think all those things would have been squashed in him had he not lived with us because he's able to be free. Like he plays sports, he does tapping. Like I have him in all kinds of activities. Like it's a lot of time. So like I have him, and then my sister's friend, she didn't have anywhere to go. She had a 2 year old daughter at this point because I got Z too. I was like, I guess all 2 year olds just come to my house and they live here now. And so she came, and I had actually just came back from Miami. I took my sister to Miami for her birthday. And so when we get back, uh, the little girl, she's my goddaughter. She calls me her fairy godmother. So she's there, and I'm giving my little cousin some cereal, and I was like, "Well, would you like some cereal too?" And she had said not a word to me before I left. She had never said a word to me when I got home. Like she in my house, she ain't say hi, nothing. And so I give her cereal. Next thing I know, she talking to death. She's my friend. She following me around. Like all I do is give you food. I should never. Sometimes I'm like, I never should have fed her. Um, but like then she became like really attached to me. And if I'm taking my little cousin places because she's 7 now and he's 10, so he's 2, he's 5, and if I'm taking him places, I'm going to take her too. So she has started becoming accustomed to a lifestyle that I don't know if it'll be sustained if she leaves. And I'm like, I feel bad that I started something with her because I had DJ in Tap, that's my little cousin. I had him in Tap, and she seen all the ballerinas when we went to his recital. And she said, I want to be ballerina. So I put her in tap and ballet. I have her in cheer. When he played football, she does cheer. But he's like, I don't know with football. I just want to do basketball. So she does all of those things too. So we have on Fridays we have movie night. And if you ask her what's her favorite thing to do, she'll say movie night. So Fridays we watch movies together. I get popcorn and some candy. The boy, he's like 10 now. He's gonna play Fortnite, and he'd be like, "Do I have to watch this movie?" And I'm like, "You just gonna abandon us?" But he don't care. He's like, "Whatever. We'll see what happens." Sometimes he'll watch it. Sometimes he's like, "Nope, I'm doing Fortnite." And I just like, I ain't gonna argue with you. On Saturdays we do our Bible study. So like I'm like they have their own personal Bible study too, but like our group one, we do Bible study, and they call it Fun Science. So I have like this big book of science stuff because I want them to like be well rounded. And so we do science projects together. We took some milk, some dish soap, and some food coloring and did some stuff with that. We took one was baking soda and vinegar, and we blew up a balloon in a water bottle. We did walking water with different like food coloring and water and like paper towels. We put the Mentos in the Coke. We've done like so many things. People like Christians don't like science. No, I assure you, Christians like science. So we do science together. So I try to again give them a pretty well-rounded good life. They go to church, they love church, and I'm very happy that they love church. They'll quote scriptures to you. The girl will go up to a stranger and be like, you know, Jesus is God, and he died on the third day, and he rose again. No, he died and he rose again on the third day. And I and I'm like, good job, baby. Like to everybody. She don't care who you are. She's going to evangelize you. She don't care what you look like, what you got going in your life. And it's funny because it makes people smile because she's really petite and she's 7, and she's coming up to you like, you know, Jesus is God. He died and rose on third. Like that is her favorite thing to tell people because I've been trying to teach them like the gospel, like in a way they understand it. Not the full scope yet, but just enough to where they get it. And that's her favorite thing to talk about. Like she'll quote all kinds of scriptures to you, but you give her something she want to talk about, that's the gospel is going to be it. So I'm very like proud of them. And she tells everybody I'm a fairy godmother, like not a regular one, a fairy godmother. And I was like, that's the big shoes to fill. I don't know what to say. That I made it past regular godmother to a fairy godmother, and I was like, I guess I'm bibbity bobbity booing around here. I don't know. So, but I love both of them dearly. Sometimes I do wish they get out of my house, but there's just there's no way. Like the girl, like even she, like her mom had actually like moved out, and she still comes because she goes to school from here, and she's still like, I'm staying here with you. And I'm like, you do realize eventually you're gonna have to go live with your mom. She's like, I'm fine. You can't, you you can't be fine. Like you have to go live with your mom. And she's like, so she goes there sometimes on weekends. Sometimes she be like, I'm fine, and I just like I didn't stole this baby. Like I feel like I've stolen her. But we used to sing to her mom, me and your daughter got a special thing going on. So we used to sing that. I guess it was real. So, because she is like, nope, she's here now.
Hmm.
She came downstairs with the boy to bother me about God knows what. But
A fairy godmother.
yeah, yeah, fairy godmother. Like there's a regular godmother and then there's a fairy one, and I'm just like, I have arrived. I don't know how, but I have arrived. I am a fairy. I be making her dreams come true because everything she asks for, if I can get it for her, I get it for her. And that's probably how I became a fairy one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I do care a lot about both of them, and I know both of their lives would be vastly different had it not been for the love and the care and concern that I have for them. And her mom's living. Her mom's not a bad mom, but I know her mom isn't able to do the stuff for her that I'm able to do for her. And so I'm glad that she get to experience things that she wouldn't normally get to experience without a fairy godmother. So I take that role for both of them very seriously because I want them to grow up and because I teach them about budgeting. They still want to spend up all the money. I teach them about budgeting and stuff like that, and and they be because every Wednesday I take them to McDonald's after before church. I take them to McDonald's, and every Wednesday they're ready. They know that there's gonna be McDonald's coming on Wednesday, and they be happy about it. They be like, "We're gonna get our McDonald's." Like, yes, y'all get your McDonald's. Then I'll be like, "We're gonna budget for the McDonald's," and they're like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever. We just getting it. That's what matters." But they don't care about that. They just be like, they know I got McDonald's money, and they happy to have them some McDonald's. And I'm like, I don't even like McDonald's. They do because they kids, but he's like, I don't even like McDonald's. They are, but I'm very proud of both of them. They're both very smart, very funny. They're very articulate. They are creative. They're some amazing little kids, and I'm glad that I get to be part of their journey of growing and developing. And when they get older, I I hope that all the things that I've been teaching them will pay off in the long. I mean, I know it will, but I can't wait to see it pay off because I'm gonna be like, y'all got McDonald's money for me because I want my McDonald's money back. I want my tap, my ballet. I want fairy godmother money. I want my money back, all of it. I'm sending them a bill as soon as they turn 21.
Oh Lord, that's too funny. But I know you have made a major impact on their lives, and a lot of people are in here saying thank you, thank you, thank you so much for taking them in, and that's the reason why I love you sharing that story, and just fell in love with you when I heard about that story because it made me think like, man, I wished I had had somebody like that come across my path because when you was talking about things could have been a whole lot different for your cousin if he didn't have you guys step in, because I know myself and my situation. I would, Lord, start bringing other people around me. The truth of the matter is I wouldn't hang out with nobody that had parents. I
Right.
wouldn't, because I wanted to hang out with people that could do like I do. I hung out all night. I did what I wanted to do. And so I couldn't have no friends that, oh, I got to go in the house, or my mama calling me, or I couldn't get jiggy with that. I had to hang out with people that could be out all night like me. And so, and you'll be amazed how many kids out there who parents are alive, but they're not active in their lives. They're strung out on their own drugs or whatever the case may be. And and I see kids now, a lot of kids that people be saying, "Oh, they so bad, they so this, they so that," and then I said, "Hold up, for we go there. What's their home life like?"
Mm-hmm.
And a
Because it
lot
looks
of
different.
times the parents won't be in their lives. I said, "That's it. I said, that's it, because I know for myself. I said, because if you take a kid and they don't have parents, and so they think they grown. And so they don't
Mhm.
feel like they grown. They think they calling the shots. They make so that's what's really going on. I remember my sister when she was a teacher, something was going on in her classroom. I said, you need to dig instead of just writing that kid off. You need to dig a little deeper. I said, because I bet you something is going on in that home. And true enough, he was with us. I think the kid was wind up being with a stepdad, and so stepdad wasn't watching him like that. Stepdad would let him live there, but mama wasn't there, and so it
Yeah.
wasn't his child, but at least he was letting him live there. But and so it's just you'd be amazed at all the situations that's going on out there. And I really want to raise the awareness and tell us to start being aware of the children that are around you. You know what I'm saying? Some kind words, a smile, or and pay attention to see if they're being neglected and
Mhm.
abused, because the worst case that I saw was when that woman was able to kill two of her kids, torture two of her kids, and put them
Mhm.
in a deep freezer.
Yep.
And how she got caught, she left with her other two kids, went to her friend house.
Yep, and they went over there
Yeah,
because it
mm-hmm,
smelled like death in that house. I
yeah,
remember that.
and
And
that
she
was the
she was
worst case.
crazy.
Yeah.
She
She
was
tortured
crazy.
them first, and so I'm trying to figure out how in the world do you get away with killing two kids and nobody missed the kids and nobody, I struggle with that big time. So I want to say definitely you stepping in made a difference in your cousin's life, and I'm sure you made a difference in your goddaughter's life as well. So we want to say thank you for stepping up and taking on that role. So we really do appreciate that. Now we talked a little bit last time. Go back a little bit. You kind of went over that story real fast. Now I heard a lot of challenges. You see, a lot of people, if they had to go through all of that
They wouldn't did
for
it.
for a family member, they wouldn't have done it. And so I heard a lot, like, who was causing the trouble? The
His
grandmother?
grandmother, and I'm not related to his grandma. I'm related to his
Okay.
grandfather.
Oh,
But his grandma was causing a bunch of problems. So she just be like, I'm gonna come get him. And so he's older, so I let him spend the night now. But for a minute, I wouldn't even let him spend the night at her house. But she was causing like all kinds of havoc. She would call like children's service on me and be like, oh, he's sexually molested, been sexually molested. I'm like, by who? Who is doing that? I had to deal with children's service. I had to pay guardian ad litems. I had to pay lawyers. She was filing false charges on me. Like she was she was a terrorist. And most people would have given up. As soon as you
yeah,
got to pay money for something,
yeah.
that's when you know if you value something. But there's no way. My cousin, well, his mom had been in foster care while my uncle was fighting to prove that he was her father. Because they was like, oh, we're not gonna give you to her. You don't really know her. Why you single man want to take this girl? He's like, this is my daughter. And like, that's not who's listed on her birth certificate. So he had to go take a DNA test and go through all of this stuff. And like while he was doing all this, like she was having a horrific time in foster care. She was an
Wow.
amazing mom. She never would have wanted her son to go through any of that. Um, so to know like what she'd been through and to know how much she loved her son, and he's a helpless 3-year old, like from three to 3 to 4.5, because he was in preschool when I first got him. From like when I had to like go back and take him from her, like from 3 to 5, she just was terrorizing me, my mom, like just acting crazy, acting a fool, and was like, I don't even know if y'all really related to him anyway. And I'm like, at this point, he's my cousin, regardless of what you say. If you don't know who your baby daddy is, that's kind of on you. My uncle took a DNA test. That's how he was able to get her out of foster care. We know he's
Wow.
related um, to us. So she just was acting a fool. And again, if a lot of people, as soon as they had to give all that money to that
Yeah,
lawyer and that guardian ad litem, they'd have been like, no, I can invest this in other places.
yeah.
But what is more worthy than an innocent 3, 4, 5-year-old kid who can't fend for themselves? They have no real representation of themselves other than the guardian ad litem, who don't really know them. You do a couple interviews, you talk to them, but they don't really know this kid.
Mm,
And once these people make these choices, they no longer have to see this kid. This
mm,
kid grows up to be an adult. So it's like, who else is going to advocate for this innocent kid? Like, he's
yeah.
already been through a lot. Like, his mom, who loved him with all her life, took care of him, who he knew was always there for him is no longer here. He has separation anxiety because we had told him for a long time, like, oh, your mom's at work. And so he had been with us. He had woke up from a nap and he came downstairs and he said, where's mommy? That's what he called my mom. And I was like, she's at work. I didn't even think about it. And he's like, oh my gosh, she's at work. Because he's thinking she's at work. I'll never see her again. And
Oh
that's when I
no.
realized like he's going to need counseling because the way he just responded was not a normal 3 year old response
Mhm.
to somebody being at work. And so like I'm seeing all of this stuff. I'm seeing like how he's been tossed around and how his dad doesn't really want him, how his dad treats him. And like my uncle tried to be helpful, but my uncle was distraught. He started drinking really heavy and stuff like that. So he wasn't really helpful like that either. And it's like how could I turn my back on a kid, especially one in my own family? Like I'll give a stranger something to eat. Why would I turn my back on a baby? Because he's really a baby, 3, 4, 5 year
Yeah.
old baby, and like he doesn't. He don't know no better. He don't know what's going on, but his emotions were everywhere, and he was just like sad, and then he'd get like break down. I would drop him
Wow.
back off to his grandma's. He would sit in the car and cry for 20 minutes, and I would have to
Wow.
like take him back up there. And I'm like, how could I, in good conscience, as a Christian running around evangelizing in the street, take this baby back and not care, the state of his life? Like it's not something that I would have been able to be okay. Like, well, and now sometimes I'll be like, get a lesson there when he's really bad. Um, but in reality, in good conscience, I wouldn't have been able to be okay with him living that kind of life, knowing that he would have let him do whatever. He'd have been able to be a hood rat. Like sometimes he do want to be a hood rat. Sometimes he wants to be like, you know, I'm going to be doing A, B, and C. Like his dad, I guess, was a gang member. I don't know. And he was like, my dad was in a
Yeah.
gang, bang, bang. And I said, well, you're not. We're going to nip this right now. You're not. And so I had to make his dad have a conversation with him. Like, this
Mhm.
isn't the way you want to live, like all the stuff that you have, hoverboards and bikes. He was like, you think you about that life? You live in the suburbs. These kids over here beat you up and take all your stuff, and you be over here with nothing. This really is not the life that you want to live at all. Like not even a little bit. You might be something in those suburbs to them kids. Over here, no. These kids that had a rough life. You don't know what a rough life, and he don't know what a rough life is. Like he want to pretend he does. He has no actual clue of what it's like to not have anything. Like he'll ask for the most mundane thing. He has so much stuff is ridiculous. Um, but he doesn't know what it's like to not have his needs and his wants met. And I don't, at this point in his life, I don't think he would be okay with not having both met because that's what he's used to. And not just like physical stuff, emotionally having
Yes.
his needs and his wants met, mentally having his needs and his wants met. And he's not built for that kind of life that he think he is sometimes. But I will also say, you go back to the teachers. If you show that you care about your kids, the teachers will care about your kids too. When you are absent parent in the schools, the teachers don't care what your kids got going on. His teachers love him, all of them, and it's because they know that if they call me, I'm going to be up there. I'm going to have their back. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to work together
Mhm.
as a team. It's not me against them. We'll be a team. And my sister Tiff, she's a teacher and she's getting her master's in child psychology. Well, psychology, but she does a lot of stuff with kids. And she's a really great teacher because she cares about like kids, what they got going on. Like a lot of stuff I deal with, like it's mainly her, like, do you really want him to grow up like this? And I'll be like, no, but he getting on my nerves. You might have to. He's not, I guess, be upset. Like, little boy, you about to catch these hands. But I know it's difficult. You're being raised by your great aunt and your second
Yeah.
cousin. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of steps in between. And the people who
Yeah.
should love and care and be consistent are not. So we have to show up even more consistently
Mhm.
because they're inconsistent. And like now he's older, now he can see for himself, like,
Mhm.
and then like they go and say stuff about us, like, oh, they don't really care for you, they don't love you, sir. Sir, y'all don't come around. This little
Mhm.
boy has like I not he played football. Like for instance, he played football, and mind you, I didn't pay for the football. I took him to all the practices. I done ran back and forth to all these places for his games. And so for homecoming, I invited his grandma and his dad, and I said
Mhm.
that you guys could walk him down the field for homecoming because that would
Mhm.
make them happy. Neither one showed up, but then they
Wow.
want to tell him like, oh, they don't care about you and they don't want, and I'm like,
Mhm.
why would you say this to him? The
Yeah,
people are taking care of him. And so
yeah,
he tells me though, like, they said this and I know they're lying. And so, but it's like, why would you put that in a kid's head?
yes.
So some of the stuff that I have to go through is from the people who should be more helpful. They're not.
Mm,
They should be, but they really aren't. So
wow.
it's a lot of stuff that goes on with the other people. Not even really him sometimes, it's them, but they emotionally affect him when
Mhm,
you're saying this stuff. And then
mhm,
when you say, I'm gonna come get you and you don't, or when you make promises you don't keep to him, I'm the one or my mom is the one who has to pick up that slack. And that's not always easy. And so it's easier when it's your own kid. It's a little harder when you like, I don't really gotta deal with this because it's not my kid. But if you take this kid on, it's your kid. It's really your kid. Like
mhm.
regardless of what you say, it's still your kid. So
Yeah. You hit on something very important because this happened with people do got parents, and they really is the parent. A lot of times, the absent, even my kids talk about this, and I said, go get some help. Just go get some therapy. But where sometimes the absent parent will call. I hated this. I had to tell my kids that, look, don't call no more. You gonna
hmm
come, just come. You ain't calling no more. You know. So, because when you call a kid and you tell, and this is the reason why in what I do in the nonprofit organization, I get young boys that are having hard time and getting caught up in the system. I try to find them male mentors because I know how
hmm
important that is because of my son being raised in a single parent home and the effect that that had on him. I tell them, if you're gonna be a mentor here at Land Foundation Life Center, you ain't
hmm
you if you tell them kids you gonna come and get
be
them,
consistent.
you better go get them. Cause
hmm
if not, I'm coming for you. And them kids call me and say, Miss Davenport, my mentor didn't show up. It ain't gonna go well for you when you get in there. It's just
I
not
don't
gonna go
blame
well. Because I don't play that right there because kids, I know from my own kids, they will be sitting out there waiting on you,
you.
expecting you to come. They're depending on you. You know what I'm saying? And what
hmm
a letdown! And you're teaching them that you people can't be trusted and that you ain't got nobody but yourself, and it just build up that anger and all those other types of issues that's going on. So I always tell people when they say they want to be a mentor, I say, come on, let's get some mentor training, let's go over this, because there's a lot to being a mentor. If you want to be a mentor, that's a big responsibility because you
hmm
cannot tell a kid you're going to show up and don't show up. So like you saying, that do have a lot that affect that kid in a very negative way. And then there's a lot of other things that you opening up that you have to deal with, and that happens in person that they're their natural parent. Sometimes the parent won't come through, sometimes the parent won't show up, sometimes the parent don't come, the parent is
hmm
sometiming, and it's a lot to deal with. So yeah, it's a lot to take on. Now, what would you say to somebody that is considering fostering or being a foster parent or just being a godmother or a godparent? What would you say to somebody? Give them, some tips and encouraging words and different things like that.
I would say if you're gonna do foster parent, get with an agency. I don't have no agency because it's my cousin. But get with an agency that has a really good reputation, that gives you the information for the kid. Because again, because I've been in my little cousin's life since he was 2, I already knew everything was going on. So it's easy for me to like know what help to get him because I know what's happening. Somebody's going to disclose everything so that way you can get the kid the help they actually need. Do it for the right reasons, not for nefarious reasons, not for money. I assure you, helping kids, there's no amount of money you can pay me, because nobody pays me. Nobody pays at all, and there's no amount of money that you can get to actually be what a kid will need because you don't know. So get somebody who's going to give you the information and make sure that you're able to provide it. Don't get a bunch of kids, get only the amount of kids that you can actually help and do it to make an actual difference. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna have these kids. And a lot of times we have like delusions of grandeur that's gonna be easy. It is not. It's not at all. So if you have a kid that is more trouble, maybe just get that kid by themselves. Try to get them the help that they need, and work with them. It's going to take patience. Be patient with them. Work with them, and understand that kids don't make good choices. They'll say stuff. They'll do things, and it's not necessarily because they want to. It's because that's how they either get attention that they feel they're lacking, or
Yeah.
they're trying to express their emotions, and it's not always going to be in a healthy way because they don't know how to express those emotions. So just be very patient with that kid, and love that kid. Actually love the kid. And I know, again, I know it's not easy when it's not your kid, but we're supposed to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. That's God commanded us to do that. Do that same thing for that kid. Love that kid. Show that kid love and care, and compassion. And if you don't have the time, or the effort to put into it, just become a mentor where you don't have to spend as much time with the kid, but be consistent in whatever you do: foster, adoption, mentoring, discipling. Be consistent, because consistency does, it really does matter. It does make a difference when you're consistent with that kid, because they'll know that when you tell them something, they can depend on you and they can trust you. So,
Yes.
like when I had shared parenting with his grandma, um, there was not a time I didn't come. Like, I had went out of town, and mom was like, "Mommy, can you go get him?" My mom was like, "I wasn't gonna leave him there anyway." So, but he knew that he could depend on us regardless.
Yes.
So now he's
That's right.
older. He knows that I can depend on them. I can trust them. I can be honest. I can tell the truth. Even when he know he gonna get in trouble, I'll give him that. He will be honest because that's what he's used to. He knows that
Mhm.
if I say I'm not going to yell at her, and I'm not big on yelling and screaming anyway, but he knows if I get too silent, I'm really mad to just leave me alone. But I have always been consistent in his life, and I am very fortunate. I have a brother. My brother's consistent in his life.
Awesome.
He is his basketball coach loves him. His basketball coach is like a mentor to him as well. So I've been very fortunate in that aspect of it. That I do have males in his life who care for him, who play with him, hang out with him, taking places and stuff like that. So
That's
just be
awesome.
consistent, be loving, um, and listen. Sometimes what they say in their most angriest moments is how they actually feel, because they don't know how to express
Mm.
themselves normally. And pay attention to what they don't say and watch what they do. That'll help you as well. So just love them, because love covers a multitude of sins, and it's
That's
difficult,
true.
but just love them, because honestly, we all want and need to be
Mhm.
loved. And if you feel unloved by your family and by
Mhm.
your friends, it's going to take a while to believe a stranger love you. So it's going to
Mhm.
take a little bit more time, but just
Yeah.
be there for them, and they'll start to feel that love. And don't snatch it away because you're mad at them, because there's
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm upset with both them kids, but I never going to make them think I don't love them because I'm upset with them.
That's good advice. I love that. I'm giving you all the thumbs up and hearts because this is so true. Let me tell you this quick story. Something came to my mind when you was talking about when you say you're going to do something, uh, make sure you do it. My kids, they always invite me to stuff. Always invite me to stuff, and I was like, y'all cannot be inviting me to this stuff at the last minute. Now y'all trying to give me some heads up, give me some time. So they invited me to something last week, and they said, Miss, we know you don't remember stuff, but they telling the truth because I don't. We know you don't remember stuff, but I hope you know our concert is Tuesday and it's this week. And don't you be talking about we. I had to give you. We told you 2 months ago, and I said, you sure better be glad you told me again, because you're right. I had forgot. But I'm sharing this because a thought came to my mind was like, how they gonna know if I'm there or not?
Oh, they gonna know.
That's what I'm about to tell you. I said, they ain't gonna know if I'm there. And they ain't gonna miss me if I ain't there. It's gonna be all these people and their parents are there. And girl, thank God I didn't listen to that mind. Cause soon as them kids got up that stage, they came straight to me.
Hmm.
They said, Miss our bus driver said she gonna be here. And they was looking for me.
Hmm.
They
They
was
do.
looking for me. And I was sitting right there doing like this. I said, I got y'all picture and everything. And they done told their parents, our bus driver said she gonna be here. And so, yeah, when you tell a kid, I'm telling this story to back you up. When you tell a kid, I don't care if it's not your kid, and they give you just as much as you give them.
They do.
I mean, it's definitely worth it. And so, yeah, if you tell a kid you're gonna do something, and I told them too, I said, look here, if I tell y'all I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna come through.
Mhm.
And so, because you're building up that trust in those kids, and you're teaching those kids how to trust um, other people. You know what I'm saying? And that
Mhm.
other people can be trusted. And one of the girls that was that she was when I first started talking to her, she wore black all the time. She was down. She was depressed. She said she was getting counseling and everything. But
Oh
now she said the counselor said she don't need to see them no more. They didn't have to see her
no.
no more. She's wearing. She said, "See, Miss, I got other color clothes." And I mean, her whole everything has changed. And so you never know what type of
Mm-mm.
difference you can just giving the kid a little bit of your time or some of your time, how that can make a big difference in that child's life. And so
Mhm.
I want to encourage people, to get involved. Like she was saying, if you can't foster, if you can't get be a be a volunteer somewhere, be a mentor. There's all different types of ways that you can get involved in your community and serve your community. So I want to end. It's 7:51. I want to end with this because we talked about this on Single Saving Dating. There has been a law passed about women not being able to have abortion. And of course, us as believers, we say, well, that's a sin and different things like that. And I'm not taking from that, so don't nobody start saying Renee is for that because that would be a lie. What I will say is this: my stand or my take on that, and me and you talked about this, you're going to have to get some skin in the game. You can't just say this is a sin. And because a lot of people, oh, I'm not for that abortion, and it's a sin, and it's in the Bible. But I ask people, I said, these will be the same people that stand in line and talk junk about people getting food stamps because these
Mhm.
people using food stamps. And you just said you was against abortions, but you don't want them to get food stamps. You mad because these people are using food stamps and you having to use your money. Because I had a person come up to me tomorrow. I wish we could. They get look at it, got they bag it full. Me and you, we ain't got but two or three things. I said, brother, you talked to the wrong person. You got the wrong one.
I
You
do
got the
wish I could
wrong
get
one.
some food stamps though. I
You
do. I wish I could. Not gonna lie. I would like some.
But
I
I'm
would
not
like
gonna hate
some.
on nobody else if they getting food stamp and I can't get food stamps.
Mm-mm.
I'm saying these the same people that's
I
gonna
know.
say they don't believe in abortion, but you're gonna fuss about people getting food stamps. You're gonna fuss about these people getting WIC. You're gonna fuss about these people getting Medicaid. My thing is I'm not understanding you. Do you foster? Do you go see about children? Do you know how many children that are currently in foster care that can't these people can't find no home for, nowhere to put them? Do you know how are you currently aware of how many children that get abused in that system? Are you
Mhm.
currently aware how that system dropped these kids over and over and over and over and over and over again? How they getting molested, how they getting beat, how they being starved. Are you currently aware of what's going on with the children that we have right now that are alive? Are you aware of the turnover rate in that department?
Mhm.
That it's hard for them to keep somebody in that because it's it's a lot of pressure. It's a big responsibility. So do you support those people? Do you know that you can give suitcases and fill it up with stuff and give it to the and take it to the defects office and they'll give it to those children in the foster? Or I'm saying, where is your skin in the game?
Right.
I hear you saying it's a sin and you're not for it. I hear you saying it, but I need to see you showing up in it. You got to show up in another way other than just that. Because otherwise, I mean, what are we doing here? We're going to force people who are already saying, "I don't want this child to have this child," and then what? And coming from that being a product of that myself, I can tell you right now, society as a whole don't care nothing about no orphan. And I'm gonna go back to what you were saying. The kid can't advocate for itself. And so it's going to fall prey. And being a person myself coming up in society without parents, there's all types of things that come to a kid that don't nobody care about, that ain't nobody going to listen to. You know what I'm saying? That there's all types of things that drugs, they can sex traffic them, sex everywhere, they can be molested, all types of things happen when a child don't have an adult to, I'm telling you from experience. And then
Mhm.
I had other people around me. I thought, well, I would look at my friends and see their situation. I was like, you know what, Renee, you ain't got nothing to complain about. You just living out on the streets. Ain't nobody bothering you. You know what I'm saying? These people got people bothering them. You know, they being beat over here. This woman, this child is in the foster home, but the foster mom is knowing that her husband is going in there sleeping with this foster kid and she ain't doing nothing about it. And the child is telling these people, but they do nothing. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, how, what's your thoughts on that? I don't want to get, because I'm, this is something near and dear to me, and I will rant and rave. And so I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, so a lot of people are actually they're not pro life, they're just pro birth. And I think they should just say that. They need to just be like, I am pro birth. I'm not actually pro life. If you are pro life, you touch on a lot of things that I say. If you are actually pro life, you care about that child being properly educated. You're not against pre-K. For one, I think it's like 2 to 3% of the budget actually goes towards food assistance, cash assistance, Medicaid, and Medicare. We give out way more corporate welfare, which is a whole different topic, than we do to actual people. We care more about corporations than we do people because nobody's like, oh no, don't give that corporation nothing. We're bailing out banks and all kinds of stuff. Um, but the sad part is, if you're telling somebody, you keep this baby, and it is sin, it's murder, it's sin, it is. But if you're saying this is sin, this is murder, keep that baby. Well, if I'm going to keep this baby and I don't know where we're going to live, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this pregnancy, I don't know how I'm going to feed this baby when this baby is here, I have put a level of stress on you that is unfathomable, that I wouldn't want to be put on myself. So we need to be very serious. We need to be like, hey, I'm going to take care of this, and I'm going to advocate that we have better Medicare and Medicaid for children. We make sure that they have enough food assistance for the kids to be able to eat. There is WIC in place for these children so these kids can have babies. Babies need milk. Babies drink a lot of milk. Babies, that's all they do, drink milk and cry and laugh at you. And smile so that way they'll know like I'm cute, love me. That's all they do. They poop and they laugh and cry, and drink milk. That's their whole life, sleeping. Like that's really all they got until they get like 6 months old. That's all they got to offer you. Babies really have nothing else to offer you. Um, but you should be okay with programs helping mothers get housing, helping mothers, uh, job assistance programs. You should be okay with preschool programs because preschool helps children develop to have a better education. You should be okay with funding teachers and making sure these kids have a good education, making sure that free lunch is available for these children in school. Why would you not be okay with that? If you're going to advocate for children to be born, we need to advocate that these children have a decent life as well. Because how fair is that these parents are stressed out? And that's how, really, honestly, we look at a lot of kids who get abused. A lot of their parents are stressed out. A lot of their parents are mentally, emotionally unstable, and they don't have the health insurance to go get help for themselves. So now they're taking this out on their children. Now it's a cycle of abuse that we're perpetuating in society because we don't care enough to get people insurance and make sure they have adequate insurance to get the help that they need. And kids are hungry and the only meal they get is at school. Well, we want to take that from them and then we don't want to give their parents food stamps. So where are they going to eat at? So we want kids to starve to death? Like, make that make sense to me. Like, even if you don't care about the parent, care about the kid. And that's where I'm at in life. Like, oh, These people just the only thing they care about, only thing they care about is living off the government. It's look, if you need to survive by living off the government, and if you feel that's it, then you again in the cycle by ensuring these kids are properly educated and ensuring these kids have a foot up in life, making sure there's jobs in these communities for these kids to actually go work at. Why do people don't just like people as it first thought is like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sell dope. It's not, it's let me get a job. Well, there's no jobs available. There's no job within my neighborhood. So guess what I'm going to do? I have to survive. I need to have money. What am I going to do? So it's like a lot of crime rate neighborhoods because there's not a lot of jobs. It was at one point the Crips and the Bloods had put down the gang stuff down because these companies was like, well, we're going to provide jobs, we're going to provide tribe training. All you guys got to do is not gang bang on each other. The Crips and the Bloods in California, and you can look this up. The Crips and Bloods in California
Wow.
said we are not going to gang bang if you can give us jobs, and
Really?
they did not because they wanted
Wow.
them jobs and the people did not come through with the job. So guess what they start
Really?
doing again? Gang banging. They like, well, this is how we get money. This is how we protect ourselves. Bang bang. But it's like if they provided them opportunities, promised them all this stuff, and they did, they kept their part up. The
Wow.
crime went down and everything. So I'm like, what do we expect if there's no jobs, there's no hope, and all you see is hopelessness? Well, it's our job to provide some hope. If we're supposed to be a light in darkness, then we need
Mhm.
to go where the darkness is and provide some light. And it takes like, yes, we need to be like, do you know Jesus as your Lord and Savior? That's the biggest part of it. But how do we show that? Because the Bible says if you tell a man, be warm and filled, and you sit him on the way and you can fill him and keep him warm, then you are not doing very well. There's a story
Mm.
about the Good Samaritan. It's the reason the story is there. How do you love your neighbor as you love yourself? I'm pretty sure we take really good care of our own selves. So
Mhm.
apply that to other people. And it's like we have to be very honest with how we treat people,
Mhm.
talk to people, and not even just kids, how we treat other adults. We can't
Mhm.
look at somebody's situation and be like, I can't believe
Okay.
they stuck and they doing this and the
Mhm.
other. You don't know why. You do
Mhm.
not know why. Because it could have been one of them foster kids that got
Mhm.
put
That's
out in the
right.
streets at
There
18
you
years
go.
old.
Preach it.
And because they don't have nobody, now they got two kids. They don't know where to go. They're, again, perpetuating this same
Yes.
cycle that
Yes.
they have been putting themselves in. Now we're looking down at them, not
Yes.
realizing they've been molested and
Yes.
abused and have no hope, and they are hopeless, and now they have these kids and they feel hopeless with these kids. Now these kids are being, and sometimes you can just be depressed and neglect your kids and you right there
Mhm.
because you're depressed and you're not interacting with these kids. Now these kids is running wild doing what they want to do. Well, it's because their parent is depressed and we don't have good medical care to send the kids is first some help. And it's a cycle that's over and over and over. So
Yes.
when we sit there, you know what? I'm very thankful that I was raised the way I was raised. I was raised in a very good home. I would not understand people who wasn't, because that's not the life I lived. It's not a dig at anybody. I was very fortunate. I had both my parents. My parents worked very hard. We had the best of everything. Um, I never had to worry about anything, which is why I'm like that with them. I
Mhm.
never had to worry, and I don't want them to worry either. Not everybody have that. Some
That's
people, when
right.
people like I had to get up from the mud, some people actually did. I did not. I didn't even have to get up from the dirt. Like I did an internship in college. I got a job out of college from the governor
Mhm.
of our state because that's who my internship with. So my life was relatively smooth. I'm very thankful that I can go and pay for food with cash. I'm thankful because it's a blessing. I'm not going to turn my nose up at somebody who did not have that same life and expect them to have the same outcome that I had when they didn't have the same leg up that I had.
Yes.
That's not fair. It really isn't. And we talk about equity and being equitable and having equality when it comes to racism. We need to have that same conversation when it comes to those of us who have survived and who have made it and have a good life. There still should be equity amongst our own selves and care enough about our own people as well. We need to think about that, not turn our nose up like, I can't believe they're using food stamps. Granted, I would love food stamps. Let me not hold you. Let me not hold you. I would like for somebody to be like, you want some food stamps? I'm like, yes, please. And they're like, dinner with JC or $500 in food stamps. I'm sorry, JC. I'm taking the food stamps. Let me not hold you. But I know that I'm fortunate enough to where I can go. I don't want to, but I'm fortunate and I praise God for that. But I'm not going to disrespect somebody who is not that fortunate, hasn't had that same life. So if we can't be that way. We just can't. I mean, we can, but it's not Christ like.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's the only thing we saying. We know God is pro life. I being in that situation myself, I can tell you society don't care about an orphan. You lying. So when Christians come to me, oh, abortion is a sin and all this and that, you're gonna be the same person complaining about somebody get some food stamp, get some Medicaid. I don't like that. Don't come to me with it. I can tell you that right now. And I know for a fact society don't care about an orphan. Society don't listen to an orphan. An orphan don't have a voice. And
Mm-mm.
so if an adult don't step in, and that's what I hope if you guys don't get anything out of tonight's conversation, find a way that you can step in. Find a way that you can contribute in your own way. If it ain't nothing but taking suitcases, you can take suitcases to your DFACS office and donate suitcases that they give to the kids in the foster care. Because these kids get bounced around. That the kids that are in that foster care, they get tossed around a lot. And so we got to understand. We talked about last Saturday, and I know my time is up, and I'm gonna let my guest pray us out tonight. Um, the thing about it, when you getting tossed around, like I got tossed around and I see kids, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart when I see kids getting tossed around because I know the effects of getting tossed around. Uh, that child is gonna grow up and he's gonna live an adult life that is unstable. He's gonna grow up and it's gonna live a life that is unstable because it don't know stability. And it don't know how to maintain stability because it they never had it, and so all they know is this chaotic lifestyle. And you, a lot of people say, oh, she's full of drama or he's full of drama. Well, their whole life has been, their whole upbringing since they've been in the world ain't been up but drama. So you
Mm-hmm.
think cause they grown all of a sudden they ain't gonna be drama filled no more? You know what I'm saying? Things don't, life don't work like that. And so I want to really encourage everybody. We're closing out Child Abuse Awareness Month because this is the end of the month, but don't let it leave your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I want you guys to really find ways to get involved because if you or I want to say this and I'm gonna be quiet, I'm gonna let my guests have the final say and pray us out. If you're gonna be the one, and I mean this with everything in me, that say, oh, that's a sin, and you don't like it, you better be doing more than that. You better be doing more than just saying it's a sin. Because and we done made this law with these, and I'm not for abortion. Don't get me wrong. I thank God my mama didn't abort me. But I tell you one thing, I've been through a lot of hell, and I can tell you that, and that's real. So we need you to do more than just say it's a sin. We need you to get involved. Because just saying it's a sin, it go back to like my sister said, how you gonna say be warm? But we're gonna pray for you to be warm and get a blanket and have some food when you got a blanket and food in your house that you could have given to that person. You pray for that person and give it some food and a blanket. And I'm just gonna end with that. Find ways to get involved, please. I'm gonna turn it over to my guests. Pray us out. Give us your last words. I want to say thank you to everyone for hopping on. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for making this a success. Go find a way to get involved. Mentor. Look into fostering. Look into adoption. Go to your boys and girls club. There, you'll be amazed how many children out there that's waiting on you to care about them, just to show up for them, show up to their events. That's why I want my kids. They be like, Miss, will you come to my event? Will you come to my event? You know, sometimes I go to these kids' event and their parents ain't even there. The parent ain't even there. Show up at some event. They'll be glad to see you there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be glad to have you there. You showing them that somebody care. You don't know how that just a little small thing can have a big effect on somebody's life. And I'm done preaching. I'm turning it over to my guests. Thank you to my guests. Let me say thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing. I love you. I love your story. Thank you for stepping in for the children because they need you. And I would have loved to had you in my life.
Now, my final thing I want to say is it takes a village to raise children. Some of the kids are in your family. Like, you don't even have to look far. You sometimes we ain't got to go to nobody's Boys and Girls Club. Some of the kids is already in your family. If
Say
you
that.
know that you have a family member who's stressed out, who needs some help, even if it's once a month, be like, hey, for a couple hours, I'm gonna come get the kids, and me and the kids can go out. I promise you, you take a kid, get some dollar ice cream from McDonald's, and let them play in that play place. You ain't even got to do much. Like heck, I don't have cash app, but I'll sell you the money. Take the kids and give them some ice cream. Um, but like seriously, you just let the kids come to your house for a couple hours and just be kids, and they will be so happy. So you sometimes we ain't gotta look far. We know we
That's
got
good.
family members who ain't doing right with their kids. Help
Say
those
that.
kids. Be in
Mm.
those kids' lives. Like we like we all know that one cousin or so
Mm-hmm.
whose kid is like
Mm-hmm.
you like, yeah, they ain't doing a good job. If you know
Mm-hmm.
that and you know
Yeah.
they mistreating them kids, you help. I'm not yo, me too. I'm the mom and I'm not even really a mom. I'm everywhere. It's at a point these people be like, oh, you're such a good mom. And I'm just so tired of telling people like, oh, Miss Cousin. I'm just tired of telling people, oh, I'm her godmom. Like, I just like, thank you. And that's the point the kids are used to it and they just be like, whatever. They don't even care anymore to correct nobody.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, you don't have to look far. It takes a village, be the village in your own family. And if you start it, other people will see it and they'll want to do it too.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You want to go ahead and pray us out? I want to say
Yep.
one more last time. Thank you guys for hopping on. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. If I could leave you with anything, find ways to get involved. If you're looking for a place, look no further. Contact me. We get Land Foundation Life Center will hook you up with somebody. We got plenty of children out here waiting on somebody to come and love on them. And I'm gonna let my guests pray us out.
Heavenly Father, you're a great and awesome God. There's none like you on this earth. I thank you for your goodness, your mercy, and your grace, for your love, your protection, for taking care of us, keeping us, Heavenly Father, Lord. You commanded us to take care of the widows and the orphans, even so much so that in the Levitical priesthood, you made sure they had a year 3 and year 6 for the offering, Lord. So I just thank you that we will take that and love them, protect them, guide them, raise them up in the knowledge of Jesus Christ, Lord. That we will be a light to some of the kids that people have thrown away and feel
Yes,
is lost
Lord.
and has no hope and is just no good, Lord, that we will see the good in them and that we can love these children back to them being able to be a kid because some kids have not been able to be a kid
Yes,
their whole life, Lord, and they
yes,
just want a chance to just be normal.
yes,
And sometimes that may be hard, but you can give us the strength to keep going to help these kids, to love these kids,
Lord.
and to be with these kids, Lord. So I thank you that you'll strengthen us to be good enough to be able to help, Lord, that you will strengthen them, that you will give us the patience, that you will give us peace that passes understanding, Heavenly Father, Lord. I pray that we will do better with our children, we'll do
Yes,
better
Lord.
with how we treat people
Yes,
who may
Lord.
have kids who need help, Lord, that we will do
Yes,
better with that as
Lord.
well, Lord. So we thank you. We give you glory, honor, and praise in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for that. You beautiful prayer. I love you. I appreciate you.
Love you
Thank you
too.
for all that you do. Thank you guys for hopping on. Thank you for tuning in. I love you guys too. Y'all, please forgive me. I got it. Yeah, when it comes to a child, y'all, I can't help myself. I love children. So I didn't mean to preach at y'all and point my finger. I'm sorry. Um, but I love you guys. Thank you so much. Have an awesome evening. Good night.